Hi there, Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies, just on my front porch here in Edmonton, and I want to make this video about, Stephen Covey in his book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People talked about time management, about how he'd been to some workshop. Who knows if this was true, but this was the story. He'd been to a workshop where somebody was talking about time management and had a jar, clear glass jar, and he put all these big rocks in it until you couldn't fit any more of the rocks. He said, so is it full? People looked and said, well, you can't fit any more big rocks. And so yeah, so then he said, okay. He took some pebbles and he shook those in. The pebbles filled in all the spots in the big rocks. And he said, well, now is it full? And people laughed, said, oh, okay, now it's full. Then he took out some sand and he started to pour that in, and it filtered in and filled out the spots. He said, oh, now it's full. And people said, okay, now it's full. There's nothing smaller than sand. Then he took some water and he poured that in. And of course, there was more room. And he said, so the question is, what's the point? So I said, the point is, you can fit a lot more into a jar than you thought. He said, no, the point is, if I hadn't started with the big rocks, they never would have gotten in there in the first place. You know, if he'd started with water, even one rock, and it would have overflowed. So that has me think about a lot of what I see in, I was going to say marketing, but it shows up in a lot of places where people will recommend solutions that in my mind are like the water or pebbles or sand. They're things to put in later if you've got extra room. You know, I see so many people with health challenges just reaching for the miracle supplement, or a crystal that's going to help them, or people struggling with dating and they're getting sex tips as if that's going to really improve their dating life. Or you get the idea across the board. And in marketing, it's well, how to do this fancy technique or tactic, or how to use this form of social media or that form of social media. And in my experience, a lot of the big rocks are missing. In marketing, to me, it's we've got to, number one, get a handle on what is it that makes marketing feel gross, and really address that. Because as long as there's a feeling of marketing feeling icky or gross or slimy, it's going to, we're not going to do it. It's going to feel off. It's not going to be that effective. Second thing is to really figure out, what's your niche? What's the role that you want to be known for in the marketplace? That's so big. I see so many people trying to learn copywriting techniques or tactics, but they haven't even figured out their niche yet. And frankly, you could have a sales letter that's terribly written that is right on point for a niche. That will do better than a brilliantly written sales letter that has no point to it at all, no niche. It's trying to reach everybody. So, number one, we've got to figure out how to make marketing feel good. Number two, the niche thing. Number three, there's this, it's related to niche, but I've been really big into this lately, is this notion of point of view marketing. So figuring out what's your point of view, what's your take on things, what's your philosophy about your work. And that's a big piece, and people will just completely miss it. Fourth, you've got to figure out who are your hubs. This comes from niche and point of view. It comes from this whole platform piece that I talk about in my Marketing for Hippies 101 workshop. You got to figure out who are your hubs. Where do your ideal clients already hang out? If those things aren't there, what are you doing with all this other stuff? Why are you trying to learn the sand, the pebbles, the water, when those big rocks of, making sure marketing feels good, having a clear niche, point of view, your hubs. There's other big rocks too, but, for me, those are the big ones. Developing a really good package and offer that would fit in. So if you don't have those things figured out, then why are you focusing on this other stuff? I just see this all over the place. And so, this is a really great question to ask yourself in your marketing in terms of your own point of view. What are the big rocks? What are you tired of seeing people waste their time and money on? Trying to solve the problem that you're helping them solve. If you help them with their marketing, great. Where are they wasting their time? If they're trying to get healthy, if they're trying to lose weight or gain weight, if they're trying to, get into a relationship, get out of a relationship, or trying to find some inner peace, whatever those things are, what do you see as the big rocks? It just blows my mind. It's like, you've got a serious health crisis and you spend all that money on a crystal. How about de-stressing your life? How about getting out of commitments? How about you know, drinking more water, some more greens, some healthy fats, some of the basics. You know, what do you see as the basics in your work? Where do you feel like people are just not spending enough time? What are people talking too much about that isn't really important at all? It's a big thing, because it's, God, how many times have you and I probably gone to get help with something and gotten something that didn't do anything because it wasn't one of the big rocks in the first place? They were selling us sand when we were needing a big rock. So that's my thought today. Something to think about. That's all.